What's up, D&M crew?
Welcome back to our channel. Today we are doing a part 2, if you will, of things you should know before moving to Texas. Our first video kind of blew up. We had so many comments and questions on that video, and we just wanted to do a part 2 because we've been living here now for longer and we've just experienced more in Texas. So we just want to share more information with you guys.
We stand by everything in our previous video. We don't take anything back, but yeah, there was just a lot of questions, a lot of things we left out, and a lot of things we could have added that we're going to do here. So this is going to be a longer video. We're going to go through some facts of Texas that you may not have been aware of. Not a comprehensive list, but just some general things of the history of it and some inventions. Then going into our background and relationship with Texas and why we moved here.
Yes, and then at the end of the video, we're going to do a Q&A. Your guys' questions, we're going to answer them about Texas. So we will be doing like timestamps in the description box if you guys want to like skip to certain parts of the video. And also just to mention, Mitch is a researcher. He gets paid to research. It is his job. So all the information we're sharing with you guys is stuff that Mitch researched from credible, factual sources.
And again, it's not comprehensive. I didn't spend like 2 weeks on this. I really just, got some facts that you guys might be interested, like cost of living and whatnot. How Texas came to be. It was kind of an interesting story. So yeah, just stuff like that. First of all, some things to mention. All right. The number one thing that I want to mention about in this video is when we say Dallas Fort Worth, guys, come on. In Texas, we're not equating the two. When we say Dallas Fort Worth, we are mentioning the Metroplex.
Like literally, that is what it's called, Dallas Fort Worth. We understand that they're like two different cultures. That's literally like every city in Texas everywhere you go is like there's something different about it. So we know that they're not the same city. We're not dumb.
Cities can be so different within the Dallas area. Like, you know, Frisco to Plano to Dallas to Irving. I mean, they're all to Louisville. I mean, they're all so different. And they all have little different features. And, you know, our first love was Arlington, which is a little closer to Fort Worth than where we are now. And, you know, that was our original love, baby. I mean, that's where we went. You know, that's our city that we originally went to all the time. And the first thing we noticed that when we got closer to Dallas was how different it was towards Arlington. And so truly, everything's different. You know, there's so much to offer. And that brings me to number 2. Number 2 is that Texas is huge, guys. I mean, East Texas, close to Louisiana, is so different than West Texas, which is so different than the coastal cities, which is so different than the North. I mean, you have everything here. You can surf on the coast in Corpus Christi. You can kind of get like near swamplands next to Louisiana. You're in the Great Plains and north, you know, parts of it.
There's mountains near the Mexico border, the Texas-Mexico border. So like literally there's so many different geographical features about Texas, which is crazy. But yeah, Texas is really huge and there's a lot to offer.
And Austin is beautiful. Austin is just beautiful, like kind of grassy vegetation. Maybe not for all the year, but I mean, you know, we have a video on that too. You know, go check it out, and it's just beautiful. You know, there's so many different things.
It reminds us of Minnesota, just like the greenery, like lush, like nature. Like that's what Austin gives to us, because
But what you'll find out is it's a little spendy.
It is spendy.
And then on to what we wanted to bring up about our relationship to Texas. Both of us have somewhat of a relationship to Texas before actually moving here. So some of the things that we wanted to bring up is that we moved to Texas in 2019, almost a year ago. We started visiting together in 2017. And we visited maybe 6, 7 times together coming down here before we actually moved down here. Her parents moved down here shortly before us, and then her whole family just kind of followed us. But before that, your first visit was in what year again?
2013. So I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. So I mean, I'm 23 now. You do that.
Exactly. But that was 7 years ago.
It was quite a while ago. So I visited first time 2013 for spring break with my family, and then we just started making it a spring vacation, literally every year.
So much to see. Why not?
Sometimes we came twice a year, once in summer, once in spring. I got into a university here.
That was one of our trips, visiting the school together. So that was really cool. Yep. And my first time here was in 2015. I didn't really stay here. It was like a pass through to Arizona. But we did catch the tip of it, and I saw a lot of windmills and stuff like that. And we got out, and we made a thing of it though, because it was my first time in Texas. I had always loved Texas. And so I got out, took some pictures, even though we literally passed through just the sliver of the top part. And so that was fun. And then you had family down here. Some distant parts of Destiny's family have always lived here, but her brother specifically moved down here in 2012 and spent a couple years here. Yeah,
he went to school here, so we visited him then. And he lived in Irving, and then the next year he lived in Houston. So I've actually been to Houston before. I've been to most of the major cities in Texas, and Mitch and I together still have to go to Houston.
And Corpus Christi, and El Paso.
Yeah, and we're gonna go to El Paso soon.
Yeah, we're gonna go to El Paso soon. We have a trip planned for that. I have a buddy in Corpus Christi. He's lived there since he moved from my high school in Minnesota. That was probably like over 10 years ago. And then Houston, I haven't been there, she has, but we do plan on going there sometime. It's not on the list, honestly, but at some time. But we have been to Austin multiple times, San Antonio multiple times,
Waco
multiple times. Where
Obviously,
else?
We live in
Amarillo. Dallas. We live in Dallas. We've been to all those places, Fort Worth, Arlington, and we love them all. San Antonio is my personal favorite. I love San Antonio.
I love
Austin's
Austin.
great too.
I don't know. I love the Riverwalk on San Antonio. It's literally like so romantic. I love it so much. But Austin just seems like
it's the place to be, honestly. If you can afford it, it's the place to be. But it is very expensive. Not just expensive. I'm talking about it is like double what everywhere else counts, and we'll get to that part too. And then I've also had an aunt that was from Texas, so I was familiar with it from there. And for anyone saying that the drivers in Texas who are driving fast are not Texans, you're out of your mind. It's both, right? But the one thing that she said, my aunt is a native Texan. The one thing that she always said is she misses the fast driving in Texas. So, I get that there's some natives who probably don't drive as fast, and some people who come in drive faster, but I'm telling you, native Texans drive so fast too. So and I get that from experience from my aunt. So don't mess with my aunt. She's a Texan. So. Part 2, I guess, of this. Historical facts. All right. Now, I went through literally the entire history of Texas and how they became a state and whatnot. I'm only going to touch on a few of those right here, but I literally went through everything.
Yes, and also Mitch has a history degree.
Yes.
So he's a researcher and he has a history degree.
Yes.
So this stuff is like
I don't get this stuff from I don't get this from blogs. I get this from academic journals and stuff like that. So, but it's going to be generalized for sure.
Yeah.
So the earliest civilization, we'll start from the beginning, baby.
My God,
Native Americans. Native Americans lived as far back as 40,000 years ago. They were wild game hunters in the West Texas and village and farms. And had even religious systems in the East. And it formed what was called the Cato Confederacies. You can look that up all you want. We're only going to touch on this stuff later. And then fast forward to the European settlements. The Spanish sent multiple dozens of expeditions in the 1700s. And they established San Antonio, the Alamo, as a center for the missions that they set up throughout Texas. So even El Paso was to join there. The French also had expeditions in East Texas, and they ended up selling us the Louisiana Purchase, which was originally, farther in to the Texas territory, but we kind of gave up the territory to Mexico. Yeah, that was 1803, right? So the Louisiana Purchase was 1803. We technically had claims all the way to the Rio Grande, but we didn't want to fight for them, so we settled on the Sabine River by 1819. You can look that up again. We're just going to touch on it, right?
I love this.
Mexico won independence from Spain in 1821, and the European population in Texas equaled about 20,000, so the Anglo population, by 1832. There was a coup in Mexico that led to Santa Anna becoming the president of Mexico, and Texans didn't really like this. Both Anglo and Mexicans in Texas did not like this, and by 1835 they set up a provisional government. So this is like the beginning of Texas independence from everything in 1835.
Everything.
And in 1836 they officially declared their independence. And then the siege of Alamo happened. It occurred February 23rd through March 6, 1836. So that's a big date in Texas. All roughly about 200 defenders of the Alamo were all killed, including James Bowie and David Crockett. April 21st, 1836, Sam Houston ended the war by a surprise attack at San Jacinto River against Mexican troops. They captured Santa Ana, brought victory to Texas. And almost immediately, actually, Texans petitioned to be annexed by the U.S. The U.S. did not do it. Andrew Jackson and Martin Van Buren administrations did not want to annex Texas. They eventually did in 1846. The Texas Rangers were founded during this time. They were meant to protect against raids from Mexico and other Native American tribes. And this annexation led to the Mexican-American War, where the U.S. Captured and occupied Mexico City, and then the negotiations and the treaty that resulted gave America New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, parts of Colorado, and Utah. And so that's how we got those territories after the Louisiana Purchase.
That is insane. That is so much territory.
Yep. So you can see the growing union in the history of Texas. And then Texas eventually ceded from the Union later in 1861 during the Civil War. Sam Houston, still the governor of Texas, opposed it, and he was thrown out of his position, his seat of governor, for his opposition to the Confederacy. He would not pledge allegiance to the Confederacy. So you can see kind of the dilemma between even probably people who can consider themselves friends, neighbors, and brothers, and the kind of the tension that the Civil War brought up during that time. And there's some basic facts of like leading to now. The population led up to 3 million people by 1900. The oil boom began in 1901, which just started a new era of economic independence and freedom for the Texas region. And then the technology boom came to Texas in the late 20th century, adding to that kind of economic prominence within the country. And that leads us up to now. And now, the flow into Texas is still ongoing. You can still see construction everywhere. That's actually one of the main industries in Dallas area is construction. It's the third biggest industry, and that's pretty big. That doesn't happen elsewhere. That's huge when you get construction to be that important, and that just means things are growing, baby. Like everything's popping up. So
there honestly is still so much space to fill in Texas. I know people are like, it's overcrowding, but like, there's still so much land, especially like West Texas, like. I feel like it's never gonna stop growing, honestly. But
yeah, and all the little once like Dallas areas and stuff get overcrowded, it's just gonna keep going.
It's never gonna end. A lot of people are moving to Texas.
Yep, lots of people are moving to Texas, so it's been fun. And then just some other facts on some of the big cities in Texas when they were established. Austin was established as a city in 1839 and named for Stephen F. Austin, and he was instrumental in the independence of Texas as well. Dallas was established in 1841 by John Neely Bryan. Houston was established in 1836 by Augustus Chapman and John Kirby Allen. They were brothers. San Antonio, as we already kind of mentioned, was established May 1st, 1718 by a Spanish expedition. They set up the Alamo. Corpus Christi was settled in 1839 as a trading post. El Paso was I didn't write down the date here, so I don't know the date. But El Paso was originally a missionary kind of off and on since like the 1700s, like San Antonio. But it was permanently settled by Juan Maria Ponce de Leon. I don't know. It sounds both Spanish and French, so I don't know who they were. Fort Worth, founded in 1849 by Major Ripley Allen Arnold as a military outpost against Comanche raids. And Arlington was founded in 1876 as a market town on the railway, so for other farmers as well. And so here are some inventions that you may not have known that were
fun facts.
Yep, and there are only 6. The first one is kind of funny because the thing that I read it from said, you know, everything's bigger in Texas, even the boobs, as silicone breast implants were founded by 2 physicians in Houston. They also, Texas also is the founder of Snickers.
Woo!
Or Texans, I guess.
Yeah.
Fritos, the Chili's restaurant, which is personal to us.
Yeah,
we
freaking love Chili's.
Yeah. Or we did in Minnesota. We haven't really done it down here because there's so many more restaurants. But in Minnesota, with very few restaurants to choose from, that's where
Chili's is where you gotta go.
Yep. And then Dr. Pepper, which
I don't really care for Dr. Pepper.
Yep. And Barney. And I watched Barney.
Yeah, the cartoon Barney. He's a Texan.
Who
knew?
Who knew? And so.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I went on.
This guy. I don't know if you guys can see this.
I got all the facts for you guys, alright? We're not going to go through all of this, right? But I'm just going to say some like interesting stuff. And I know I've been talking for most of this, but that's because I know I just have the research down.
Yeah.
And, you know, but she'll get to the questions.
Yeah, exactly.
If you guys hate my voice, alright?
No. Okay.
Okay, so as I was saying, this is going to be like the cost of living section, all right? And since I already mentioned it, I'm just going to go right away and compare Dallas to Austin, all right? 2 of the biggest cities in Texas, and I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. So the population in Dallas is 1.3 million, and the population in Austin is about 1 million, all right? But the median home value in Dallas is $188,000, roughly, right? The median home value in Austin is $349,000. All right, that's nearly double, right? That's nearly double.
Yes.
And even when you go to the average market rent, $1,300 a month for Dallas, which is okay.
Yeah.
And then $1,566 a month for an Austin average market rent. And I don't know if they're just nicer apartments, but who knows?
Yeah,
that's just a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to figure out why it's so much. I know, like, I don't know. There's just something about Austin.
Something about Austin.
If you guys know, let us know, because we don't know.
And well, it's a professional town. So when you compare the 3 biggest markets, for Dallas, it's healthcare, retail, and construction. All right, so those are the 3 biggest. For Dallas, it's professionals. That's the only city that I've looked at that had professionals as a top industry, right? And that just means like, lawyers and stuff like that. So professional, education, and retail were their 3 biggest. And so it's just like, kind of wealthier, higher class professionals. And when you look at the cost of living, now when you do this, they kind of set it on a scale of 100. 100 is the US, so it's just kind of like the basic general cost of living for the US. And if you're lower than that, then you have a lower cost of living, higher. Texas in general is 93.9, so that's pretty good. It's a lower cost of living than general America.
Yep.
So Dallas even is 101.6. All right, so it's higher than Texas. But Austin is the highest one that I've looked at 119.3. So it's 19.3 points higher than America and a lot higher than Texas.
Yeah.
And so, you get, so it's not just a housing, it's
everything. Cost of living.
Yeah, traveling, whatever.
Entertainment, dining.
Yep. Hey guys, we wanted to hop on real quick because as we were editing this video, we wanted to kind of compare what the cost of living of Austin, which we thought was high at first, to other cities like San Francisco and New York City. And what we found was Austin is 119, San Francisco is 269.3. All right, so just as a comparison, we thought it was high, 119, but definitely have to like hold that in view of other larger cities around the country.
Yeah.
So, there you go. And so a lot of these other ones are just kind of fun to look at. Arlington is actually a higher median home and average market rent value than Dallas, but they do have a slightly lower cost of living at 100.6, so only 1 point. So Arlington is actually not a very different city to go to if you're looking for cheaper living, it seems. The median housing costs at least are higher. And then if you want to compare Fort Worth is it's very similar to Dallas. It's 182 median home value and 1,400 average market rent. So it's actually cheaper to live in Dallas if you're renting. There is higher home ownership in Fort Worth, significantly. 56.1% are homeowners, 40.7% in Dallas. So if you're looking to home ownership, it might be worth going to Fort Worth. I don't know if they have just better stuff set up or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Better for homeowners. Who knows?
Yeah.
The lowest one I looked at was Wichita Falls, the lowest city, and it had the median home value of $103,000, a average market rent of only $968, and a cost of living of 74.5. All right. San Antonio and Houston have pretty much the same median home values at $160,000 and average market rents at about $1,200,000. Houston's a little bit lower. The cost of living is lower though for other things in San Antonio than Houston. San Antonio is 89.7, so it's actually lower than the average Texas cost of living. And Houston is 96.5, which is a little bit higher. So I don't know what is cheaper there, if not the housing, but maybe transportation, groceries, stuff like that. Going out, who knows. Corpus Christi, if you're looking for like a beach town, it's 83.1 cost of living. Again, Texas is 93.9. It has a median home value of $150,000, and the rent is actually a little bit high. It's $1,281, and we actually looked at that too because we were looking at apartments in there just to see what they cost, and we noticed that they weren't as nice as the ones that we looked at in Dallas area, but they were like the same price, if not more. And that just seemed a little weird to us, and we didn't want to go down there because of that reason. If you're looking for like a place like Odessa or something like that, or Lubbock, Odessa is $175,000 for median home value. Which is like kind of similar to Fort Worth and Dallas at 180. The rent's pretty high at $1,281, just like Corpus Christi, but the cost of living is still pretty low at $88. And then the other cities that we looked at, El Paso, Amarillo, Loretto, Beaumont, Tyler, which kind of gives you a whole area, just fall right in between there. They're all kind of in between the 80 to 88 range on the cost of living. None of those cities really, they're between 115 and 160,000 median home value, and they're really, all of them are kind of like 1,000 to 1,200 in rent, So generally, except for places like Austin, maybe Dallas and Arlington, these are all better cost of living than the average American city by these stats. So that's interesting. Now, crime. All right, crime, because some people did ask about this. And all I did was look at violent crimes, because those are the ones that are like scary, you know what I mean? Yeah. Violent crimes per thousand residents, all right? Dallas is actually on the higher side at 7.76. Now the US average, or I think the Texas average, is 4.11. 4.11 violent crimes per 1,000 residents, all right? Austin is lower than that at 3.91.
Nice.
Yep. San Antonio is a little bit higher, 6.33, still lower than Dallas. Houston is, I think, the highest one. No, actually, no, that's not true. Beaumont is the highest one, but Houston is the biggest, like, big city. It's the highest big city at 10.46. So it's a little bit scary down there.
It's a little scary down
there. Fort Worth is 5.01. Not too bad. You know, that actually surprised me. I thought it was gonna be higher.
Yeah.
Corpus Christi is 8.17.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so pretty high. El Paso is 3.79, and you know, that's pretty good. Lubbock is 10.07, so pretty high. Arlington is about the same as the Texas average at 4.5. Amarillo is pretty high at 8.11, so it's even higher than Dallas, which is, you know, Odessa is pretty high too at 9.16. Loretto is 3.43, which is pretty low. Beaumont, as I said, is 10.72, which is the highest city I looked at.
Dang.
Yep. Wichita Falls and Tyler at 3.74 and 3.94 are both lower than Texas. So that gives you an idea of the crime. And, you know, so again, Houston, Corpus Christi,
Beaumont.
You know, well, for big cities out of Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and Fort Worth, Houston takes the cake on that one.
Dang it, Houston.
Austin, you're looking pretty good, man.
You're looking pretty good. Your prices ain't looking good, but your crime is looking good.
All right, and that's all I got for, you know, information that might be useful for you guys to, you know, consider if you're moving down here.
Yes.
You know, so that's a history of Texas, a little bit of living situation, some population stats, and then some crime stats.
Good stuff, bub.
And now we got some questions.
And now we got questions from you guys. I can't even tell you guys how many people have like messaged me on Instagram to talk about, oh, moving to Texas, and
it's a big thing.
Questions
Everyone's
about Texas.
doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So we hope this video is really helpful for you guys because we know a lot of you guys are moving here. So let's just get into the questions. These aren't in any particular order. I'm just gonna read them off the way I wrote them down. First question is, have you experienced triple-digit heat yet? Yes, we have.
Both on vacation here in the past and while we've been living here.
Yep.
We were actually at the zoo for one of those days. It was really hot.
Yeah, it was
and
really
I got
hot. That was so hot. But like, you kind of get used to it after a while. Like, you just deal with it. I don't know. And then another part of that question is, have you experienced tornadoes yet? Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
Not like directly, but
yeah. Well, almost, because one ripped through right when we moved here. One ripped through right where her parents lived.
Yeah, like
and
so close.
Like the Home Depot, Home Depot down the street, almost like, well, it did get destroyed.
Yeah.
And it was right down the street from them. So you know, we did have a close call with someone that we know, and we were just, you know, right down the block. So yeah, we've experienced that too. And just in case none of y'all know, Minnesota has tornadoes. You know, we've experienced those up there too. So yeah, we're familiar with what to do. I will say, thunderstorms in Texas are on another level.
Astronomical.
They are literally biblical. The
That's
clouds.
the way to describe
Yeah, the clouds are huge, and you're looking at it like, what is going on with the world?
A couple of days ago, when there was a thunderstorm, I literally thought the world was ending. Like, it got dark so quickly.
So quick.
The clouds looked like freaking roaring waves of the sea. It was like so scary.
Yeah. That sliver of lightness is what it's actually supposed to be. Wow. Yeah, it's coming in. Let's go up.
Yeah.
It literally looked like you were on the ocean, you know, and like just a storm cloud was coming in. You're like, oh my God, this is crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, and it's just because the sky is so big that you can just see everything.
Yep, that's true. Okay, next question. What do y'all think about Buc-ee's? We've never been to Buc-ee's, and I'm so mad because every time we like road trip to Texas or left Texas
we pass
to go,
it
we pass
time.
it all the time, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna stop at Buc-ee's this time, and we just never do. But like every time
secretly, I don't really care to
you
go.
don't
like,
want to?
It's a gas station.
I know, but it's like the thing here, you know. Maybe you just want to like experience it once.
I'll experience it once, yeah. It's just not on the list of, you know, important priorities.
Destinations, okay, whatever. But yeah, we've never been.
Sorry to whoever that offends.
We've never been. We're not gonna go out of our way to go. Like, oh, you want to go to Buc-ee's?
It just it looks really crowded, and I don't. When I see crowded stuff, I'm like,
yeah, I'm turned off by it. I'm like, I don't really want to go there. Too many people. So.
But it is huge, and it's crazy, and if you like that type of thing, you'll like it. And if you come down toward, like, if you drive from North Texas into Dallas, I mean, you'll probably pass it. So.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Okay. How is it as an interracial couple in Texas? Are people friendly to us?
Yes. And actually, that's one more thing that I have here.
Some demographics.
Some demographics, right? That is something that I think not a lot of people understand about Texas, is that at least in the big cities, it is crazy diverse. Like crazy diverse. And here, one second, I'm just gonna pull up. All right, just for comparison, right? We moved from Minneapolis, okay? And the demographics there are about 59% white, 19% black, and 9% Hispanic or Latino. All right, where we live now, or the big city around us now, right, Dallas, 29% white, so way lower, 23%, or basically 24% black, which is a little bit higher, but then 41% Hispanic and 3% Asian, right? Like that is just, that's crazy, right? You don't expect that, right? I think a lot of people think of Texas, all of Texas, as predominantly white. I think we almost did too. And so, you know, it was crazy coming down here. You don't really get that. It's really diverse. No one really stares at you weird. No one, I think everyone's been living with diversity down here for a really long time. Texas was born out of both Anglo and Spanish descendants and stuff, so, you know.
Yeah, I think people down here just kind of like mind their business. We haven't had anyone like stare at us like,
which we did have in Minnesota. So.
Yeah.
Also Houston, the same thing. 24 white, 22 black, 44 Hispanic. You know, crazy numbers.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, some of these places like, you know, Lubbock or Amarillo or Wichita Falls, you start getting a high percentage of whites again, like in the 60s ranges. But again, those are not really big cities. For us in Minneapolis, that was like the only place where you get near 20% black population. Hispanic doesn't even come close in Minnesota.
No.
So, you know, diversity has been an amazing thing down here, and even it shows up in the restaurants, the landscape, and
literally everything.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
It is.
So if you're looking for that, Texas is actually the place to go, in my opinion. If you're looking for diversity, Texas is where you want to be.
Yes. How is public transportation? I mean, we live further out of the city, but like any city, you're gonna have, I believe there's like a DART system, like trains and public buses and stuff like that. I mean, Uber, all that kind of stuff. But we have our own car, so we don't have to like really think about that stuff. So we don't know too much about it. But I know there is like a train system that goes like from the major cities like Dallas to Fort Worth and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I'm sure there are avenues. We don't know anything about cost or anything.
Yeah.
Every time that we've had to do that in Texas, we've taken Uber or something else. So yeah, we don't have great insight on that. We just know that we've seen the systems in place.
Yep, exactly. Do you get any of the "we don't like you" or "want you here" from native Texans? Not really.
No, not in person. Only in video.
Only on YouTube.
Only on YouTube.
Only you guys. Like, I'm not kidding. We've never received so many comments like from the things you should know about Texas video.
Our first one, the one that we're kind of updating on this. Yeah, so many people commented like just thinking that they know what Texas is, and everyone has their own idea of Texas, you know.
And experience too. Like not every single person's experience is the same. So
like one for example, just because this one stands out.
Go for it.
Someone was like, "You're not in Texas till you get down to Houston." It's like, that's a lot of Texas that you're like excluding from. It's like
seriously,
and he said it's Oklahoma if you're not in Houston. It's like that's a lot of Texas, and I can tell you what, Oklahoma is way different than North Texas. So if anything, it's a separate state. People just have very big ideas or limited ideas on what Texas is. You know, all the don't come here.
Don't move here. Don't move to Texas. Stay where you are.
Vote red if you move here. You know, it's like do what you want to do. Just stop telling people what to do. You know, like it should be a blessing that people want to move to Texas. And take it as such, just deal with it because you're part of America, and that's not, I mean, unless you want a seed, you know, it's a seed from the Union again.
How was the move, and what are the most cost-efficient ways you guys saw? So we moved here in October of 2019, so like 8-9 months ago, almost a year. And what we did was literally packed all of our stuff, like whatever we could pack, we packed in Mitch's car. to the brim. I'm not kidding. And we just moved here. We didn't have any furniture. We didn't even have an apartment picked out, you guys. We had no clue where we were gonna stay. Yep. We stayed at hotels. We stayed with my parents. They let us put some of our stuff from the car in their closet in their little 1-bedroom apartment. Like,
yep.
We really,
that's how you save, you know. That's what I say. You make sacrifices if you can, anywhere you can to save money, like, you know, not staying at a hotel, using families' places to kind of store things or even stay. We didn't use a U-Haul, right? We left a lot of our stuff back at my parents' house in Minnesota, and we made eventually like probably 3 or 4 trips to get everything down here eventually. So that was another sacrifice, not having everything with us. So we didn't buy a U-Haul. We saved money on hotels. We didn't have an apartment right here. We moved here without a home.
We just did it, y'all. We were like, we want to move to Texas so bad, and the opportunity presented itself. We're like, all right, we're moving next week. Like, we literally said that. We're moving next week, and we just packed all of our stuff and moved down here. And then, like Mitch said, every time we went back to visit to Minnesota, we just brought whatever was left from his parents' house back home. And so it was kind of a process in the long run, but I can't believe we did that.
Yeah, it's nice.
We actually just moved.
And actually, like, that's what makes me think that we would be perfect for like a van life for a little bit, you know, maybe even a couple of years or something. Yeah, save up some money.
Because we want to
travel so
we want to do that Pacific Northwest.
Well, if we're doing van life, I'm going all the way around.
Yeah, we're hitting all 50 states, like, or at least all the states we haven't seen yet, but.
I've branched out of like the inner of America. Like, I've hit all the Midwest, the middle, the core of America. I've never been to like the coast ever, you know, so I want to do that. Ever.
I've only been to like New York on the East Coast. The furthest west coast I've gone is Nevada. So yeah. Do y'all see many people ride motorcycles in Dallas?
Yes.
Yes.
And you hear them.
And they're very annoying, to be honest.
Loud.
Yeah, especially at night, because we kind of we live like by a highway, so you can hear them just racing each other, revving their engines.
Yeah, they race all day, all night, and it never stops. And there's no cops that pull anyone over for speeding. Like,
never.
And it's a blessing, but also kind of not a blessing, because you get people racing, but then you could literally the roads. I'm a Texas driver now. Like, I have totally assimilated to the Texas way of driving. I drive fast. And
yesterday was scary.
And it was fun, you know. So I drive fast and stuff, but you know, they drive really fast. You can see them whipping by. You know, so.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is Texas you guys' forever state?
It'll probably be like a forever destination that we always come to, whether we live here or vacation here. I mean, we love Texas. I was just saying before this video, honestly, in our kitchen, like, I just love living in Texas because I feel so much more in it. Like, I feel in the world.
And free. You guys know Mitch and I love to travel. So it's so easy to be like, let's go to Austin this weekend. And we're like, yeah, let's go. In Minnesota, the only place you could do that with was Duluth, which was like getting played out because we always went there. But there's just so many cities, like from Dallas, everything is like 3 or 4 hours like away. So that's like a little weekend trip. It's super easy to just travel and like have a little
go to San Antonio on the way, visit Waco, you know, like that's probably one of our favorite things to do is just to stop in Waco on our way to either San Antonio or Austin.
But I don't think Texas will be our forever home. Like, we want to raise our kids somewhere more like in the mountains, not in the mountains, but like Colorado would obviously be cool.
If we can get to Austin, I would say I would move to Austin.
Yeah, but Austin's freaking expensive.
That's why I say we could get there, because, you know, if we can afford it and stuff. But, you know, Colorado's pretty expensive too. Not as expensive, honestly, but as Austin, I would say. But
I'd maybe even like be down to move to like North Carolina mountains or like Tennessee or something like that.
Depends on what we see, because we're not done traveling. We want to travel and see everything.
Yeah, exactly, and decide then like where we'd want to move. And also, I feel like we would want to raise our kids somewhere else, but maybe come back to Texas and like retire, like once our kids like graduate high school or something like that.
See that
because I think that would be like most ideal. I like that a lot. Okay, what do we think about Aubrey and Denton? So I've actually only been to Aubrey, Texas, like twice. If you guys don't know, Aubrey and Denton are like north of Dallas. Denton, haven't really been there. We've only driven through there once to go to Colorado. Yep. What can you really say about Denton? Actually, we've driven like in it a couple times.
Denton, yeah.
It's kind of older.
Yeah, it's a little bit older. Like you could tell it's been a city for a while. You know that's something else about Texas. Every city is so much bigger than what we're used to. Like 60,000 in a city was big for us.
Yeah, we're like, holy crap, it's a big city.
Yeah, now like 100,000 is chump change. You know, that's every city in Texas.
Yeah, which is like crazy.
It's amazing.
Don't really know too much about Aubrey and Denton, so sorry about that. Do we have any regrets about moving to Texas?
No. Literally have none.
Yeah, I can't think of anything right now except for the first apartment we ever moved to.
Yeah, well that was just an unfortunate thing.
An unfortunate event.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you get stuck with a bad experience that you just have to work out of, and you know we handled it like champs. If you haven't been here for long and if you're new here, we moved into an apartment that was just very unfortunate, very loud, very nasty, very gross, and just all around horrible. And we didn't, you know, we technically broke our lease on that, but they let us out of it without any fines or anything because they understood due to all of our grievances and stuff like that. So we handled like champs and we got out of that, and we came here very much like it. It's a 180 to where we were before. God. So quiet, even with the motorcycles going in the background.
I love it here so much.
Just peaceful. So even if you have a bad experience, you know, I certainly don't regret it because we wanted to be in Texas and we made it here. And so even though like I miss things about Minnesota, like the payoffs are so much worth it down here. The idea of just getting out and stuff. Like I said, we like to travel and stuff. Yes. One day we will have like a home base that we go back to and stuff. But honestly, I just like the feeling of not having a place. I just like being out and feeling like free to move around and stuff like that. I've never had that feeling before. I've been cooped up in Minnesota for so long. Yeah. Once I started traveling, like to Arizona was like the first big trip with one of my buddies. And that was when I first went to Texas in 2015. I've just been, like, I've loved to drive and just go anywhere. At any notice, too. Like, I've taken trips, like, literally a day's plan and stuff. Every
time we go on road trips, too, Mitch drives the entire way, you guys. I'm not kidding. 15 hours there, 15 hours back. Like, he just loves to drive. And also, to add on to what you were saying, like, if you have the opportunity to leave your hometown, like, please do it. No matter how much you love where you live, like there's so much to see. There's so much more for us to see. And it's crazy that we lived our entire lives in Minnesota. But once you like start traveling, once you start living different places, you're like, holy crap, like this is amazing. Like I missed out on all this stuff. But yeah, it's just such a good feeling, and that's what we plan to do. Just kind of like move wherever we can when the opportunity comes up. And it's fun.
And some people have different degrees with what they want. Like some people can see one state, you know, and then just be like, okay, you know, that was fun. You know, I like just where I'm at though. I don't need to see anymore. But it's definitely just worth it to get out and feel a little uncomfortable, you know, and try to adapt to a different location, you know.
Are there any lakes / large bodies of water?
Yes, but obviously from everything's perspective, we're coming from the land of 10,000 lakes, and it really has like 12,000 lakes.
Right, exactly.
Maybe even 15 or something. Like no one really knows how many lakes there are in Minnesota. And so we're coming from that. So to us, no. There's hardly any, because anywhere you drive in Minnesota, a lake, a lake.
Literally, go to the grocery store, there's lakes on the side of the highway. Like everywhere you go, you'll see at least 2 lakes while you're driving. Like it's actually insane.
And that would be amazing if you only saw 2. Down here, there will be larger bodies of water. Like in Minnesota, there's just like scattered smaller ones with some big ones. And it's mostly in the east. And then obviously there's the Gulf of Mexico. That's if you really want water.
Right. If you really if you want to surf or something, then you can go down to like coast. Texas lakes and stuff are they're just foreign to me. Like I would never get into one. It just seems like snake infested and snapping turtles and stuff like that. Like I'm honestly scared of Texas lakes. I will probably never go in one. You guys, Texas is like home of the weirdest creatures and bugs ever.
It has 6 of the 7 types of snakes that you will see in the North America.
Really?
It has 6 out of the 7,
oh my God.
And then more if you count the subspecies. And so it's just got a bunch of like creepy crawly stuff.
Creepy crawlies, literally creepy crawlies. Like there's so many bugs down here that I've never seen in my life. I'm like, what is this? What does it do? Like,
and they move quick.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I don't know what these bugs ate or how they evolved, because you don't get the type of speed that these little things have. Like in the north,
my God.
like I swear to God, in Minnesota, like you see a spider, right, and it'll just be moving, and whip it.
Yeah,
right?
you can kill it.
Down here, you're like,
where did it go?
It's like juking me. It's juking me, literally. Like it's
Yeah.
like it can see you, and it then zips across the floor, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm in a different like planet. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and roaches are the smartest little things in the world. They react to you reacting to them, and they can like see you, watch you, and then jump. And literally, one jumped, and it scared the living hell out of me. I don't want one to jump on me.
Right? Oh my God, that's like my worst fear.
Oh God.
Like a spider, like when you're trying to kill it, and it's like, nope.
Yeah, and I have to handle it all the time, and I'm like, ah!
But yeah, oh my God, I've seen TikToks of like tarantulas and stuff in Texas. I'm like, nope. Geckos, no. Thank you.
It's like, what do you do with a tarantula? You don't want to kill that thing?
You can't. Like, what do? Slap it with a shoe? Like, it's so big and like hairy and
think of it, because like you don't want to pick that up. You know, I don't want to like scoop up tarantula guts and.
Okay, I'm like, my skin is literally crawling. Okay, no more talking about these nasty creatures.
Gross.
But just beware if you're
Yeah.
coming from somewhere like Minnesota, like us, where there's not like super weird things. Be prepared to come down here and experience those things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nasty.
That's it.
Nope, last question. What do you like most about the city? So we don't live in Dallas, and honestly, we rarely like go into Dallas if it's not for like to pick up food or like drive past it or something.
Yeah, we'll go to a restaurant here and there. So probably just the restaurants. Honestly, that's our favorite part.
Food.
But and so yeah, guys, if you're new here again, we're not big city people. Frisco was too big for us. A lot of you have asked like, what was wrong with Frisco? Why do you like Frisco? Just too big. It was just like a bit. It's turned into like a big city almost.
Yeah, it was really overwhelming. We had to get out of it.
Yeah, and just a lot of you know. A lot of douchebags live in Frisco. Just like big, you know, egotistical dudes that just think they got the nicest car, the nicest life, and you know, like I don't know.
Yeah, someone commented and was like, "You guys didn't like Frisco because you have to be rich to live there."
Yeah, you don't have money, or no, they just like flat out said, you guys don't like Frisco because you don't have money. Like,
all right, that's all we need to know.
That pretty much sums up Frisco. That sums up Frisco.
Yep. But also to add on to what we like about Dallas, or just like whenever we drive to my parents' house at like night, or when we're leaving their house, like I'll look over and just see Dallas, like the city lit up, and you guys know the green building. I don't know what it's called, but it's always lit up green, sometimes different colors. It's my literal favorite building ever. I love it so much. But I'll be like, I can't believe we live in Texas. Like, still to this day, 9 months later, I'm like, I can't believe we live here whenever I see Dallas. So I think that's like my favorite part, just seeing it at night all lit up.
Yeah, I like the skyline of Dallas. It's better than Minnesota. Minnesota has just like, it's kind of weird now because it's just, or Minneapolis, I should say, like the skyline of it is kind of just disrupted. Whereas Dallas is like, it's just full and stuff. And then we also enjoy when you get near one of the big cities, you start getting these towering highway systems.
Somebody told us the name of them, but I forget what they're called.
I forget.
Like flyways or something, I don't know, tell us. But like, they're just so big and they make you feel small. And like,
there's none of that in Minnesota. Nowhere. Like, you will never see something like that in Minnesota. So, you know, we don't know how rare or frequent that is around the country, but it was really cool to see for us.
Yeah.
You know, that was something I was like, do you see this, babe? Like, when I came with her, you know, I didn't see that when I first came. And so when she brought me to Texas for like my first time visiting, I was like, babe, do you see this stuff? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. We love it.
Without trailing on this video or dragging on this video forever, we are going to end it here. You got to know a little bit about our relationship to Texas, why we chose to move here. You know, we just loved it here. It was kind of like our first step moving out. And you got to know some historical facts about Texas, some cost of living, some demographics, and some crime stats on it. And then we also did a little Q&A. So we hope you enjoyed that. This one has definitely been more involved than our last one, our part 1. So we hope that this answered a lot of the questions that, if you're watching this from our last one, that you guys had during that one.
Yeah.
So we'll catch you in our next video, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Peace out, guys.